the fan pick, I got a lot of mentions for this one, and that is Brian McKnight. Um, what can I say about Brian McKnight? He ran the '90s with solid R&B tracks, crossed over to pop. Back at One is still one of the biggest '90s songs, period. Transitioned over to the 2000s, had some success there, and is now doing it completely independently. Does he make the Hall of Fame?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You know, some
Go
people
ahead.
would. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
No, you go first, Ed. Let me think on it.
A lot of people would kind of see Brian McKnight as a shoe-in, and I don't think that he is a shoe-in. And let me explain why. The front half of his career is so strong. Like you mentioned with Back at One, huge release, Anytime, huge release. And even some of the earlier stuff, like his debut, they were really strong. But it's like once he hits that kind of like that mid-2000s era, man, it just kind of just didn't work out. It's just things like really kind of slid off. So when you look at the totality of his career, that second half is not nearly as strong as the first half. And if you go back to our discussion with Mary J, we talk about how once an artist hits like that second decade and third decade, the output is going to be a little bit shaky, and that's just reality. But even with a Mary J. Blige or my boy Keith or some of these other artists, even an R. Kelly, they've still been able to maintain a little level of consistency on that second half. My boy Brian just really slid off in that second half. But for me, you can't look past the work he did in the 90s and the early 2000s and the impact he had there. So I would give him the nod. He gets my nomination. Kind of close, but I'll give it to him.
I'm going to say yes, and I think it's super close, but I'm going to say yes only because when I think about the 90s male R&B singers, was he among the best of his generation? I can't really think of 5 that were better than him. You know, as a singer, songwriter, producer, musician, I mean, he does it all. Great performer. Had hits, had pop hits. I have to say yes. But I agree with your point, Ed. The material just wasn't as strong as he progressed on. I think he might have struggled with trying to, remain commercially relevant a bit. But, yeah, I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I was gonna say yes as well, but then I remembered he had that "Let me show you how your whatever works" song.
Oh man.
So that kind of has me steering the other way. But no, you guys are right. When you think of the '90s, you gotta have Brian McKnight in that discussion. He was part of that. Great vocalist then, great vocalist now. I agree with you guys. The latter part of his career has been kind of, like he should be still relevant in urban AC, but he's not. But you can't take away from all that he accomplished in the 90s, and this is a Hall of Fame, so you got to give it to Brian McKnight. He's in.
He's in.